thoughts, beliefs, and expectations. Thoughts, beliefs, and expectations. The MONAD principle. We really program our own reality with our mentality. Nothing new. We've all heard that before. But today, I want to reveal, explain, illuminate, simplify, or introduce to you the importance of under, over, and understanding. Sorry about that. The importance of under, over, and understanding that it's really done unto you as you believe. Life is amazing. For example, my wife Dee is like my prosperity coach from the perspective of like my income goes up and down, her income stays the same. Her expectations is different. Her thoughts is different. Her beliefs are different. Her expectations are different. My bonus daughter, Janaya, we was talking and she was explaining to what some of her friends, she went to school at Prairie View. And they were talking about, shout out to Janaya. She's doing it, got her own business. She does hair and doing very, very well. And it's interesting because when she went to school, a lot of her friends, they were giving her a hard time because she was like buying a wig a week. You know, I don't know too much about wigs or weaves and that kind of stuff, but she still does it, and she uses her own money primarily. Now the wife chips in every once in a while, help her out with something here and there, but for the most part, Janaya is self-sufficient. Now look at all of her, like some of other family members, nieces and nephews on my side of the family, her side of the family. The point is, she was raised in an environment where purchasing or being in a position to purchase a wig a week or whatever is normal. And we was having this conversation with myself, my wife, and Janaya, my bonus daughter. We was breaking it down, and I was just looking at why my life manifests different from hers, even though we're married. I was looking at my children. I was thinking about my brothers and sisters. I was thinking about you. I think about the business that I've been in over the last, 20 plus years, going from making, $30,000 a month and then dropping down to, making $1,000 a month. What's up, Sister Shana? What's going on, my sister? And it's so important because when we talk about the MONAD principle, which is what I'm breaking down today, and I pump out a book a week, usually actually a book a day. And I've been doing it. I got the 1,000 books for $1,000. That's normal. For some people, that's crazy. Some people say, "What, dude? You've written and published 1,000 books?" We look at elite athletes and we see what they do. Their normal is abnormal. Man, the brain is so powerful when it comes to wealth, health, wisdom, and great relationships that your thoughts, your mind, your beliefs, and your expectations, that's the MONAD principle. Now, we are God's light trapped in dirt. The MONAD is outside of the cloud. The MONAD is outside of the cube. And the MONAD is outside of the cross. The MONAD is not trapped inside of dirt. We're supposed to be living from the inside out. I love the movie The Truman Show. One of the scenes, a skylight falls down, and on that light is the word Sirius. That's one of the star systems. Now, in the movie The Truman Show, his life is structured. People are watching him. He don't know that he's actually in a reality show. And in the movie The Truman Show is predictive programming. They're trying to tell you your life is a script. Everything that you're doing is already written for you. Unless, just like in one of my favorite movies, the blue shirt guy, that's not the name of the movie. What's the name of the movie? My boy, he's in the movie and he's an algorithm. And he's going through life, and the only way for him to get out of the movie is through the only way he gets out of or stop being an algorithm and become a real person, a real guy, is that he elevates, falls in love. That frequency, because love is the most powerful frequency on the planet. And so when you become authentic, money, everything automatically falls into your lap when you change your algorithm. Look at the word algorithm. It is all go to this rhythm. We all know that words create worlds. And so once you understand, for example, that you are right now living a life on automatic pilot, and until you change that programming by changing your words, I'm trying to find the name of that movie where it has the Free Guy in there. Let's see, I don't know if the movie's called Free Guy. Yeah, it is called Free Guy. And man, if you haven't seen that movie, it's an old movie, but man, you talk about truth hidden in plain sight. Well, I like movies like The Matrix. They hide the truth in plain sight. Now, the monad, what I want you to understand that today you are a sovereign individual. Right now, you have sovereignty. We talked about that before. And Saturn says the movie The Fifth Element, one of my favorites. That's another good movie. Because as I always they always leave out The Fifth Element. Another powerful movie. And as we look at how they hide the truth in plain sight, when it comes for you and me today, we got to get out of the box. I don't know about you, Sister Shayna. I know you understand what I'm saying. It's time to get out of the box, man. It's time. Stop living your life with these limits. It's time to stop being small, whether it's financially, whether it's health, whether it's relationships, whether it's wisdom. It's time to get out from the cloud, out from Saturnalia, Santa, Satan, the cube that's in Mecca, and the cross that's in your church, and the cloud where they store the information. So we live in the cloud. We are controlled by the cube, and we are controlled by the cross. What's going on, my brother Mwanga? What's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in, my brother. And so it's extremely important. So how do we get out? How do we get out from living underneath the control grid? Now, people argue and debate. Man, it's amazing to me the levels of awareness. I remember the level of awareness that I was in when I was in my 20s. Man, you talking about po critter. The way that my brain worked. But the reason that my brain worked that way, because I was raised in an environment. I was told what to think. I was told what to believe. And that set my expectations. Let me say that again. It's very, very important that now as an adult, how do we get out the box? How do we destroy the glass ceiling? How do you expand not only your consciousness, but your income? How do you get to a space and to a place where you get to write your own script? How do you really establish, like in the movie Free Guy, like I was saying before, in the movie Free Guy, where it breaks down, it's in like all of these movies, which is another reason I love watching movies, is because in the movies they hide whoever they are. They hide the truth in plain sight. So that's what I was talking about, this movie Free Guy. And in this movie, man, it's crazy. They break down some crazy stuff inside this movie Free Guy, like a lot of movies. But what I want to talk to you today that's so important is what I call the monad mentality. And it's very interesting because if you get into Gnosticism, and if you understand that term monad and the term pleroma and the Peru, I like to throw in the word monad, money, or millionaire, because that's something that we can all relate to. And it comes down to understand that we are all pure energy and we all are projecting a specific frequency. So you can't manifest wealth from a nervous system that is living in survival. So when I did the series and I did the show and wrote the book a couple of shows ago, And again, this is all part of the 1000 for 1000. And I entitled that series Black and Broke. Y'all remember that one? We just broke that down. Now, again, from an economic perspective, the reason why is because of our indoctrination. So that's the reason why we're struggling, not by accident. We've been indoctrinated in 3 areas. So we look at those 3 areas that we broke down during that series. And so you want to pick up that book as well if you haven't, if you didn't tune into that series. The point being, everybody that's listening to the sound of my voice, myself included, the only difference I do is I challenge my beliefs every day. So every day I wake up, I challenge my beliefs. I challenge my limitations. It is difficult to ask questions that all your family and your friends have accepted as fact. So I don't accept nothing as facts until I prove it to myself. And I do the research. Now, I'm an etymologist. Again, I'm a truthologist, and I'm a researchologist. So that's a little different. Sorry about that. That's a little different. So my programmed reality, everybody that I know is programmed for poverty, especially black people, melanated people. Even that word black was not, we can't be black because, this is black. So I don't know nobody that's, so none of us are black, but that's not a study for another time. The point being is that you are programmed. It ain't bad. It ain't good. It just is. No, so if you can program yourself for lack, you can program yourself for success. How did you get programmed for lack? You was raised in an environment. And based on that environment, you were taught how to think or not to think. Number one, your environment, your family, your mom and your dad, your school, your reverend, your doctor, your bishop, your church, your culture trained you how to think. Certain things you were trained to ignore. So I was raised, going back to, again, the example that I was telling earlier with my wife and my bonus daughter has her own business. Okay, has her own, buys a new $300 to $600 wig every week. That's normal. She went to college, she was hanging around other children. That wasn't normal. And so they was giving her a hard time. They was calling her bougie and blah, blah. They came to the house. And all her family, they saw our house and they was like, whoa, like I knew y'all come from y'all this and y'all that. So they was giving her a hard time for her standard of living. And she didn't notice it because that's normal. So when other people come to the house, they see the house, they see what they see the stuff, and they say, whoa, y'all rich. Y'all living this and y'all living that. That's normal. But I wasn't raised that way. I was raised in we had 3 rooms. We had a kitchen, we had a living room, and 1 bedroom for the whole house. Now, the house that I was raised in fit in my living room. The whole house that I was raised in as a kid can fit in my living room right now. So I had to change. I came from Podunk, Texas. We had no running water. We had no indoor plumbing. We had no electricity. We had an outhouse. That's how I was raised. And I'm not talking about no 30s and 40s and 50s. Negro, I'm old, but I ain't that old. So let me make sure you understand what I just said. I was raised in an environment where we had no running water. We had no electricity. We had no indoor plumbing. Let me say that again. I was raised in an environment with no running water. We did not take baths. We had to warm water up and then we poured water in the tub. I couldn't go and flip, like I got a light switch. We didn't have that growing up. I didn't have that. I could turn the lights on right now, on and off. I didn't have that. I got the internet. I was raised in extreme poverty and I had no idea. That shit was normal for me. To this day, I have to force myself. I have to force myself to be wealthy. And when I met Dee, this is my second marriage, her mindset was totally different from mine. My income goes up and down, hers stays the same. Her environment was totally different from mine. She was raised in a different environment. So number one, you have to change your thoughts, your mind. And black people, especially as I just talked about inside the series Black and Broke. If you don't have that book in that series, please get it. Because now we're talking about the monad. Now, this is crazy. I don't know if you've ever, for example, just simply Googled the word monad. I don't know if you've ever done it. So let's Google the word monad. Because what we're talking about is black people, especially most of us, we've never heard that word monad or the word pleroma. We have no clue of what Gnosticism is. Most of us was raised as traditional believers. So I just typed it in. I just typed in the word monad. Most people have never heard of it. So look at the symbolism. Now remember, I've been teaching all of this stuff for 30 years. And all of this falls under this thing that's called Gnostics. Now, you know the Knight Templars, they killed all the Gnostics. So what we have is Constantinism. We don't have Gnosticism. So we're not familiar with the terms and stuff that I talk about. So when I talk that's why Christians struggle with some of the stuff I talk about. So we don't really understand what that is right there. We've never heard of that right there, the pleroma. We don't know that there is a God above gods when it talks about it like here. It's extremely rare to bump into a black man or a black woman who understands Gnosticism. Nobody, and I wrote a whole book on this dude, Abracus. I don't know no black man or black woman, not that they should, that knows and understands the God above gods. So according to the Gnostics, the God of this world is a blind God called Samael, Yabatho, Beelzebub, Asmodeus, Leviathan. I'm trying to find it somewhere in here. Again, that's just the basic word monad. Now, why is that important? It's important because we don't think. We can't. The brain cannot fathom idea that it doesn't have a word for it. So if you've never heard the word monad, you cannot think monad. Like here in Texas, they have this animal that's supposed to be called a chupacabra. Now, if you're from Philly, if you're from New Jersey, and I say the word chupacabra, what comes into your brain? Nothing. Why? You've never heard the term chupacabra. If I say the term cladonomics, and you're not familiar with my teachings and my behavioral modification system, how I went from being diagnosed with all types of quote-unquote illnesses. So the brain needs words to collapse concepts, perception, and ideals. So the whole purpose of everything that I do, the whole purpose of the book, The Monad, is to get you to expose you to new terms, to new ideals, so you can expand your consciousness. You can make more money because your money is determined by your vocabulary. Your money is determined by your consciousness. Your money is determined by your perception. Your money is determined by your awareness. If you never see people making money sitting at home in their drawers, making money sitting at home in your drawers is not possible. If you never seen, if you never talked to, if you never experienced somebody who makes money from trading stocks as a day trader, and you know nothing about day trading, you never read the Wall Street Journal, most African Americans, we were not raised in that environment. So we don't know nothing about how the dominant culture makes money. Back in the 80s when I was doing AITDs or the all-inclusive trust deeds, when I talked to people, most people, melanated people, have never heard of an all-inclusive trust deed. Most melanated people have never heard of a trust, or an irrevocable trust, or a family trust. Most melanated people have never heard of a land trust. Most melanated people have never heard of an allotto title. Do you know what an allotto title is? So most of us have never been exposed to putting our principal in the bank and only spending the principal and never, not the principal, but spending the interest, never spend the principal. So in other words, if you get $1,000, you put that $1,000 in the bank and then you spend the principal. What about insurance? Most of us have never heard of how to become our own bank, so that we set up an insurance policy and then we take money off the policy and the policy stays the same. So there's different wealth generating ideals, concepts, but you have to, number one, be exposed to them. So those are thoughts. We've got to expand our mind. The MONAD principle, the millionaire mentality, the millionaire principle is based upon the fact that you and I have not been exposed. It's not our fault. It ain't bad. It's not good. I have not been exposed to a lot of the constructs in my 20s that I've been exposed to now. And every day I wake up, I expose myself to new concepts. Like right now, I'm building online apps. So I'm exposed. So I went to Lovable. I went to Replit. I went to, what was the other one? There's like 10 different AI. So AI is new. So are you exposing yourself to AI? I ain't saying you got to be no expert in it. You just got to expose yourself to it. We got a short window according to the dominant culture. By 2029, your ability to generate capital is going to be gone. Because now AI is going to become Sentinel. It's going to become like in the movie Terminator. So this is 2026. So you got the rest of this year, 2026. You got 2027. You got 2028. After that, everybody's going to be on a universal living wage. Everybody's going to be on a blockchain. The government will have the digital dollar. They can track every expense. They can turn your money on. They can turn your money off. That's the world supposedly where we're going unless us out of keep it ons do something. So what do we got to do? Change our expectations. Okay, Doc, that sounds good. How do we change our expectations? Right now, what do you expect? You woke up this morning, what are your expectations? Now, you live in the world based upon your unconscious, what we call unconscious, some people call it subconscious. My reality right now is held together by my unconscious brain. The conscious brain is what you struggle to manifest. Your unconscious brain is what shows up in your life automatically. Let me say it again. Your unconscious brain, what shows up in your life automatically, that's your program. We're all programmed. So I'm programmed for poverty, but I consciously override that program. That's the MONAD. The MONAD principle is the ability for you to consciously see lack. Unconsciously see lack and then consciously choose abundance. Bam! Nichols can't do that. So that's why I'm teaching it. You got to do this, and you got to understand that poverty shows up in your life automatically because you got an expectation that's below the threshold of your consciousness. It's ingrained inside of your DNA. You got to override it. You got to override your normal habit pattern. It's normal for me to struggle. So I got to make that abnormal by operating with thrive instead of survive. I got to change. The only way to change it is to consciously repeat thrive instead of unconsciously repeat survive. So surviving is normal. I have an unconscious expectation for struggle fest. It is below the threshold of my consciousness. I know it because it shows up in my life. I can tell what I'm unconsciously programmed when I look around. So this is the result of my unconscious program. Now, not bad, but I want better. So now that I'm aware that I'm unconsciously programmed for high highs and low lows. My wife is not. She's unconsciously programmed for stability. Her number, she's a 4. 4 is the number of a chair upside down. Sit down, stable. Me, not so much. So I know the program because I see it. So if somebody comes up and tells me something, I ain't going to get mad at them because I can see this evidence. I'm programmed for up and down. I'm not programmed by my environment, by my culture, by my race, by my religion, by my beliefs. So I'm thinking, I'm believing, and I'm expecting. So I got to change what I'm thinking. I got to change what I'm believing, and I got to change what I'm expecting. So to change those things, I got to go back to what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking outside in. I'm not thinking inside out. Because I was raised to respond to what's going on outside of me. So when something bad happens to me, I'm sad. But now, when something bad happens to me, I'm sad. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm choosing not to be sad. So I'm not fighting reality. There's a lot of people teaching this, and It's not wrong. That's hard. If you want to start something, or if you want to stop something, don't fight it. Because whatever you resist persists. If you want to stop something, start something. Let me say it again. If you want to stop something, start something. If you want to stop smoking, start chewing gum. If you want to stop overeating, start eating salads. Start eating. Your job is to start what you want to manifest. Change your expectations. The only way that I know to change your expectations, to change your reality, to change what's manifesting in your life, and based upon all of the neuroscience, and based upon everything, all the books that I've written, the Think and Grow Rich, Norman Vincent Peale, Psycho-Cybernetics, the Being Solution, they all say the same thing. What? We bring about what we think about. The Bible says the same thing. So what do? Well, every day you got to consciously choose, and that's the MONAD principle. The MONAD principle is the ability to constantly choose outside of the cube, outside of the cross, and outside of the cloud. But we can't. And the reason that we can't is because what we are trying to choose doesn't exist for us. That's why the MONAD principle is so important. It is so important to understand this process of how to choose something that doesn't exist. Because the brain cannot choose something that it has not been exposed to. So my job is to expose you to a level where there is no devil. The devil is the negative habit pattern that keeps you in the low vibration of fear. So don't fight it. Don't fight fear. Don't fight doubt. Don't fight anxiety. Notice it. Feel it and then change it. That's the MONAD principle. But how do you do that? How do you change it? Because it is so negative. The whole environment is an unauthorized production. This whole environment is an unauthorized production. I've been talking about this. That's what Gnosticism talks about. That's what the MONAD is. That's what the pleroma is. It's this unauthorized production. You are a light being trapped in a dirt suit. So we're not trying to fight the dirt. We're expanding the light. So the way that we're expanding the light is focusing on the light. Okay, what is the light? Love, joy, peace, gentleness, meekness, self-control. That's your job. Your job is to choose to operate and vibrate on the highest level. The highest level of the game is love. So when somebody do something that makes you stop loving them, that means that you choose to love them anyway. You choose to forgive. It ain't say you got to stay with them. It ain't say you got to send them a Christmas card every year. It doesn't say you even got to like them. But you do got to love them. Well, what does that mean, though? That means that you don't wish them no harm. That means that you don't go out of their way. Now, you ain't got to hang out with them, but it simply means that in your brain, they don't take up no lane. Love means that in your brain, they don't take up no lane. They're not occupying. Your brain is not hating, because that's a frequency. All of your frequencies are reserved for love, joy, peace, gentleness, meekness, self-control, wealth, health, wisdom, great relationships, high vibration. So we notice low vibration. We feel low vibration, and then we choose out. We opt out. Your job is to opt out of fear, doubt, and unbelief. To set your expectations, to expect greatness. Right now, today, you should be expecting greatness. You should be expecting that your desires are fulfilled. Whatever your desires are, they are already done. So your job is to understand that there's another you on another timeline living your dream. So you want to jump over there where that other you is at. But there's another you on another timeline that ain't living the dream. Your job is to select and collapse the wave because it's in the cloud. So to get out of the cube, again, Saturn, Satan, Islam, and out of the cross, okay, all of the religions, and there are too many to name, all of the traditions, you got to drop all of those labels, because those labels are limits. I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm not saying that they're good. I'm just saying that they're limits. And all I'm saying, you cannot limit it all knowing and all power and all present and all loving frequency, wave, verbal vibration, unless you believe, unless you choose. Therefore, it's done unto you as you believe. Again, I am not saying it's not true. Negro, I'm saying it's limited. Why would you limit source? Why would you limit God? If God is all-knowing, how come you're not all-knowing? If God is all-power, how come you're not all-power? If God is all-loving, how come you're not all-loving? If God is all-present, how come you're not all-present? If God is all-simple, Negro, how come you're so complex? Not you personally, people you don't. So we're choosing unknowingly to make our own life hard when it should be simple. Wealth is your birthright. Health is your birthright. So the dominant culture, the powers that be, they set up a system that keep you trapped in the poverty. The powers that be, the dominant culture is dominant because they set up cisterns and systems that keep you trapped inside of a cube and inside of a cross and underneath a ceiling that's called a cloud. So it's the cloud, it's the cube, and it's the cross. We got to break out. And the way that you break out is you choose out. And the way that you choose out is you choose the pleroma, and you choose the peru, you choose the monad. That simply means that you're choosing to operate above the system. And the way that you choose to operate above the system is all is mind. All is mind is based upon abundance. Abundance is based upon the laws of whoever have abundance, they receive more abundance. Abundance is based upon the have principle. The Bible says to him that have, more shall be given. The Bible also says that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The Bible also says that you live on the level of your awareness, which means whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So whatever you send out, you get back. So that's the trick. So if you notice poverty, if you notice evil, if you notice what's going on in the current administration, you see it on the news every night, and you feel that. Feeling it is reeling it. So whatever you feel, you reel. You R-E-E-L-I-N-G. Whatever you feel, you draw to you. So notice it, but don't feel it. Notice what the government is doing. Man, that's crazy. Notice that what's in the Epstein files. Whoa. Notice that, the amount of human DNA that's found in, fast food. Whoa. Notice cloning. Notice all of the crazy that's going on in the world. Notice it. Because it's kind of hard not to notice it. So once you notice it, it's going to create some feelings. Now, when you notice it, it's going to create some feelings. If you hold those feelings, it leaves an imprint on your nervous system. And you get nervous. You get anxiety. You get stress. You get concerned because you're noticing cray-cray. You're noticing that this is evil. We notice that these fools are cannibals. They eating children. They drinking blood. They doing all kind of crazy stuff. And it's hard not to notice it, so it's all over the place. So once you notice it, now you get the choice. You can think about it. Because remember, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So the trick is to notice it, but don't think it. So I notice evil, I choose good. I notice poverty, I choose wealth. I notice sickness, man, a lot of people are sick, man, a lot of things going on, man, a lot of stuff bad happening, but I choose wealth. So choosing wealth means I'm consciously making a decision to think wealth, health, wisdom, great relationships. I'm choosing to be sovereign. I'm choosing to be source, and I'm choosing to be spirit. Those are the three keys to get out. You have to choose to be sovereign. Sovereignty. You are a single standing column of waves that has collapsed into a particle. You are an individual version of God. You are an individual water particle. The body is made up of water. The water is influenced by sound. So what happens when you introduce sound in the water? Well, it creates light. Scientists cannot figure out how light. Go to Google, watch all the YouTube videos. When you introduce sound into water, bing, it produces light. Bioluminescence. Wrote the book, did the series already. You might want to pick it up. It's part of the 1000 for 1000. Let me make sure you understand who you are. sound. Because in the beginning was sound. Sound was with God and sound was God. We call sounds words. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God and the Word was God. The Word became flesh and started to dwell among men. How? When you put sound, God, into water, boom, Negroes show up. You are the Word manifesting in water. There's water above us. There's water below us. The Bible calls it the firmament. The government, every map from the ancient text, they all show the same thing. Water's above and water's below. And you in the middle. For whatever reason, black folks, we have a problem. We don't understand it. Right, Brother Mwanga? For whatever reasons, we just can't wrap our brain around that construct. We got spirit, but we don't got no science. All I did was I just combined spirit and science together. They both say the same thing. So I'm a spirit. I'm light inside of a body. So my job is that light that's inside of me is called the kingdom of God. So we have this treasure hidden in earthen vessels. What is this treasure? The light. What's the light called? Christos. The guy in the Truman Show that was over Truman, his name was Christopherson. Or Christopher, if I remember the movie correctly. Short code for Christ. He was the control mechanism. So the light that's inside of you has to take control of you. You have to amplify the light. So what I'm providing is light amplification information. So the light, once it gets amplified, it overrides the dark. That's who we are. So the Bible talks about that this marvelous light that we have, that the light that we have has to be transformed. Jesus even said that the mortal must put on immortality, that corruption must put on incorruptibility, that we're going to receive a new glorified body, a light body. So your job is to activate the light. And the way by which you activate the light is to learn how to think. Because thinking is the hardest thing in the world to do. Because we're not taught how to think. We're taught what to think. Believe, brother. But how? Just because I said so. Sit down and shut up. Don't ask no questions, Nuke. So everybody I know is told to shut up and just sit down there because the Reverend Dr. Bishop said so is right. No, not this Nuke. So you can do that, not me. So I don't care what nobody says, brother. I don't care what nobody says, sister. I'm researching it. And I'm setting out to prove it wrong. So everything I've said today, your job is to prove me wrong. You're going to have a hard job. But your job is to prove me wrong. But you can't. Because I know I have this treasure hidden in earthen vessels. I know that greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. I know that I have the spark inside of me. I know that I have, and I live inside of a prison. It's called a PRIS, the electrical magnetic spectrum. I know that I can only perceive less than 1%. So I know that there's a lot of stuff going on that I can't see. So my job is to expand my vision, to expand my conscience so that I can take in more of the electrical magnetic spectrum. That's called discernment. And as I take in more, I increase my ability as an individual to be able to think and to be able to act. Now, I'm going to wrap up today's message with just a short read, if you want to use that term, from my book, The MONAD Mentality. And the reason why this is so important is because you want to pick up the book. And I get all of the books. That's why I have the 1,000 for 1,000. And your job is to understand, okay, what exactly and how exactly am I able to operate?
Why should some people realize their ambitions easily, others with difficulty?
Let me start this over. And so your job and my job is to understand, okay, how do we as individual expressions of God on earth, how do we override our electrical magnetic fence that's around us? How do we expand the electrical magnetic fence around us? How do we do it? Now, a lot of people say a lot of things, brothers and sisters, but the only way that I've been able to expand my own electrical magnetic fence,
the ability of the individual to think is his ability to act on universal spiritual law and bring it into manifestation. Human consciousness consists only in the ability to think.
The
With the
ability to
monad,
think.
millionaire, mentality, people seem to attract success, power, wealth, attainment, with very little
It's
conscious
supposed
effort,
to be
while
automatic.
people without the monad mentality conquer with great difficulty and still others fail altogether to reach their ambitions, desires, and ideals. Why is this so? This monad mentality is a universal spiritual law. Like every other law, it is no respecter of persons,
Boom.
but is in
It
constant
works for everybody.
operation and is relentlessly bringing to each individual exactly what he has created. In other words, whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Abundance, therefore, depends upon a recognition of the monad mentality. Why should some people realize their ambitions
This is the key
easily,
right here, brothers and
others
sisters.
with difficulty, and still others not at all? The cause cannot be physical, otherwise, the most physically fit men and women would be the most successful.
So it's not
The
physical.
solution to success can't
That means
be
it
the
got to
most
be mental.
health, race, gender, college degrees, religion. Although all those things may help, that's not the monad mentality. The difference, the monad mentality, therefore, must be mind/mental/spiritual. One of hermeneutics
Bam!
state that
That's
all
the
is
difference.
mental or mind.
The difference is
Therefore,
not physical, it's not learned, it is the mind. How does the mind interpret and process information? Everybody processes information differently. Some people are going to see this and their brain will not allow them to process it because they have religion. They got a belief system. Because the words did not register with their environment, with their culture, with their gender, with their history. Most people are afraid to bring in any type of a challenging belief. I welcome any information that challenges my belief system. Because if that information that I'm not aware of is better than the information that I currently have, I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to incorporate it into my belief system so that way I can express, expose, and expand my own mentality by learning how to bring in new transformative information that takes me in the direction of my God-given purpose, destiny, and diakonia, that doesn't hurt, harm, or defraud anyone, that helps me establish heaven on earth, which is a high vibrational way of thinking, so I can be an asset not only to myself, to my family, to my friends. Any information that will allow me to be a better man, to be a better citizen, to be a better black man, to think in a way that helps not only myself, but helps other people. Why would I reject help? Why would I not be interested in learning to expand my consciousness? The problem with most Al-Qaedans and African Americans and black folks is we got religion, but we do not have a way of thinking that allows us to be an asset in our community where we can come together in unity. Most of us can't even sit down and have a conversation. Because if you're not saying the same thing that I'm saying, then I can't even fellowship with you. I can't even talk with you. I can't even hang out with you. Why? Because we're so rigid in our own system. We're so afraid that somebody's going to say something that challenges our belief. Negro, you should welcome all challenges to your belief system. Because the world is bigger than just your little narrow viewpoint. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that it's too small. Because the world is expanding. The world is growing. You should be expanding. You should be growing every day. Because all it does is it enhances your effectiveness. It makes you a better child of the God of gods, the King of kings, the Lord of lords, the Prince of peace, the lily of the valley, the bright and the morning star, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last, the one who was, the one who is, and the one who is to come. That's your job, Negro, to expand your consciousness to become one with God. When you're ready to do that, pick up the book, the MONAD, bro. Let's go. Brother Wong, I appreciate you, my brother.